Welcome to the Timeless Talents channel. In today's video, we're diving into the world of Hollywood to spotlight some of the most famous real-life brothers and sisters. Get ready for an exciting look at these talented sibling pairs. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support. Harrison Ford, 83 years old, and Terrence Ford, 80 years old. Brad Pitt, 61 years old, and Doug Pitt, 58 years old. Angelina Jolie, 50 years old, and James Haven, 52 years old. Sean Connery passed away in 2020, at the age of 90, and Neil Connery passed away in 2021, at the age of 82. Woody Harrelson, 64 years old, and Brett Harrelson, 62 years old. Jerry O'Connell, 51 years old, and Charlie O'Connell, 50 years old. Al Pacino, 85 years old, and Roberta Pacino, 72 years old. John Savage, 76 years old, and Jim Youngs, 69 years old. Sylvester Stallone, 79 years old, and Frank Stallone, 75 years old. Patrick Wayne, 86 years old, and Ethan Wayne, 63 years old. Paul Walker passed away in 2013, at the age of 40, and Cody Walker, 37 years old. John Cusack, 59 years old, and Bill Cusack, 61 years old. Matthew McConaughey, 55 years old, and Rooster McConaughey, 71 years old. Jim Belushi, 71 years old, and John Belushi, 33 years old. Kevin Spacey, 66 years old, and Randall Fowler, 66 years old. Matt Dillon, 61 years old, and Kevin Dillon, 60 years old. Andy Garcia, 69 years old, and Renee Garcia, 55 years old. Jack Houston, 42 years old, and Matthew Houston, 46 years old. Jonah Hill, 41 years old, and Jordan Feldstein passed away in 2017, at the age of 40. Ansel Elgort, 31 years old, and Warren Elgort, 35 years old. John Turturro, 68 years old, and Nicholas Turturro, 63 years old. Jeremy London, 52 years old, and Jason London, 52 years old. Ashton Kutcher, 47 years old, and Michael Kutcher, 47 years old. Shane Van Dyke, 46 years old, and Wes Van Dyke, 41 years old. Don Swayze, 67 years old, and Patrick Swayze passed away in 2009, at the age of 57. Zachary Quinto, 48 years old, and Joe Quinto, 48 years old. Pedro Pascal, 50 years old, and Lux Pascal, 33 years old. Macaulay Culkin, 45 years old, and Kieran Culkin, 43 years old. Robert Carradine, 71 years old, and David Carradine passed away in 2009 at the age of 72. Oliver Phelps, 39 years old, and James Phelps, 39 years old. Joseph Fiennes, 55 years old, and Ralph Fiennes, 62 years old. Nicholas Guest, 74 years old, and Christopher Guest, 77 years old. Alex Wolff, 27 years old, and Nat Wolff, 30 years old. Johnny Depp, 62 years old, and Daniel Depp, 71 years old. Tony Shalhoub, 72 years old, and Michael Shalhoub, 83 years old. Kiefer Sutherland, 58 years old, and Rossif Sutherland, 47 years old. Zac Efron, 38 years old, and Dylan Efron, 33 years old. Joe Russo, 54 years old, and Anthony J. Russo, 55 years old. Matthew Lawrence, 45 years old, and Joey Lawrence, 49 years old. Cole Sprouse, 33 years old, and Dylan Sprouse, 33 years old. Chris Tucker, 54 years old, and Dexter Tucker, 46 years old. John Krasinski, 46 years old, and Paul Krasinski, 46 years old. Bill Skarsgård, 35 years old, and Walter Skarsgård, 30 years old. Gustav Skarsgård, 44 years old, and Sam Skarsgård, 43 years old.